Music, welcome back to Baokin Anime Channel today. I bring you a tale about a hopeless loser, a total wreck, yet thanks to some dirty tricks he rises to the extraordinary. Let's dive into this story. Our protagonist wakes up in the labyrinth of Arcus Dark as the future you're staring down right now. Suddenly, he spots a friendly white rabbit, but out of nowhere, two wolves charge in, aiming to devour the rabbit. Yet that cute little bunny slices both wolves in half effortlessly and then devours them. Wait, what kind of twisted logic is this? A rabbit eating wolves, then it locks eyes with our guy and charges at him, tail slashing like a blade. Behind him, a fat bear appears. The rabbit tries to escape, but the bear claws it, decapitating it instantly. The bear leaps to eat the rabbit's head, sending our hero into a terrified retreat. The bear senses him claws strike, tearing earth and flesh alike. It even bites his hand right before his eyes. Desperate, he uses his transformation skills to fend off the bear, then hides in a deep cave. Just as he's about to pass out from blood loss, a divine crystal appears before him, a mana crystal forged through millennia. But even such a relic can't save him. Flashback. He and a group enter the labyrinth for exploration. Our hero, Nagumo, a total weakling, tags along riding the coattails of the group's strongest guy. They discover massive crystal shards like the kind set in a wedding ring. One brash guy tries to take the biggest shard, triggering a violet light that transports everyone to a gloomy palace. Suddenly, an army of skeleton zombies and massive minotaurs attack. The group struggles against the minotaur, which casually tosses them aside. Nagumo uses his terrain transformation skill to trap the beast, but his teammates urge the captain to rethink their strategy. Ultimately, Nagumo can't hold on and gets thrown away by the minotaur. As he tries to retreat, the beast strikes again, knocking him into the dark void. Now, back to the present, Nagumo faces the divine crystal with his spirit broken and life's hope fading. Yet memories of friends and family reignite his will to live and breathe freely. Fueled by raw hunger and desperation, he vows to kill and devour every monster in his path. Drinking the crystal's mysterious liquid, he begins his hunt. He lures a ghostly wolf into a pit, then seals it with earth manipulation, killing the beast. Then he feasts on it ravenously. With every bite, his transformation deepens. He drinks more of the liquid, strange cells spreading through his body, his hair whitening until he collapses. His liver cells mutate too. When he awakens, his body feels lighter, like he just smoked something potent. Checking his stats, he sees massive boosts, including an upgraded skill to devour monsters, and a mana control ability that lets him wield mana without spells, also harnessing the wolf's senses. When he needs weapons, he finds a Tor stone fragment perfect for crafting. Next, he discovers an explosive stone, a flammable crystal used for gunpowder and fiery spells. Crafting a pistol from the Tor stone and bullets from the explosive stone, he tests his new weapon on a passing rabbit. One shot to the head causes a fiery explosion, sending it to the afterlife. Now fresh rabbit meat to feast on, and his stats continue climbing steadily. He eagerly invests in his growth, knowing every step forward is a step away from the weakling he once was. Nagumo's journey from powerless loser to a force to be reckoned with has only just begun. With the skill to teleport and push the air, Nagumo embarks on a desperate quest to find his closest comrade, the bear who once crushed his left arm. Using a flare, he blinds the bear, forcing it to drop its claw, which Nagumo then devours before the beast's eyes. You ate my paw, now I feast on yours. It's even. He channels electricity through the bear's blood, paralyzing it, and fires a precise bullet straight into its skull. Young Ten ventures to meet Namtao, discovering deep within the cave a captive girl who senses Nagumo's presence. After drinking the crystal water and consuming the bear's meat, Nagumo realizes his stats no longer increase. Resolute, he presses deeper into the cavern's depths. Along the way, he encounters a gecko with a petrifying gaze. He blinds it with a flare, then gifts it a copper bullet from his gun. Nagumo continues hunting monstrous creatures in the cave's abyss. Meanwhile, Carrie, in a desperate moment when Nagumo falls into a pit, tries to save him. The new captain, unwilling to lose another soul, knocks her unconscious. She remains comatose as Shizuku heads out to train, yearning to grow stronger and never lose a teammate again. Returning from training, Shizuku finds Carrie awake, but her first question pierces the silence. Is Nagumo alive? Shizuku can only hold carry and weep, burdened by the failure to save their friend. Meanwhile, Nagumo, after conquering 50 floors, stands before a massive door guarded by 2 stone statues that suddenly come to life, monsters with a single eye. Nagumo fires a shot, taking down the red-eyed beast instantly. The blue one, shielded by magic, deflects his bullets. Undeterred, Nagumo reloads and launches a relentless assault, breaking through the magical defense. With a daring leap behind it, he delivers a fatal bullet to its head, ending the monstrous threat, feasting on the monster's flesh. Nagumo discovers red spheres keys to the giant door. Inserting them, the door creaks open to reveal streams of power flowing into a floating golden cube. Inside the cube appears a girl begging for rescue. Betrayed and imprisoned by her comrades, she pleads for freedom. Having also been betrayed, Nagumo resolves to help her. The girl reveals she is a powerful vampire. One day, her commander deemed her unnecessary, but could not kill her due to her immortality, so they sealed her away here. Nagumo hesitates, but ultimately shatters the seal with his magic. Yet something feels off. Her clothing screams FBI raid. When Nagumo asks her name, she asks him to give her one, refusing to reclaim her old identity. Nagumo names her Yui, meaning moon, which brings her joy. Suddenly, an ambush, Nagumo narrowly dodges a hidden poison dart. He quickly pours holy crystal water on his back while Yui helps remove the toxins. The attack came from a giant crab guarding the area, preventing escapes. Nagumo hands Yui a long cloak, explaining she can't fight without it. But Yui teases it's him who can't fight without her. The battle with the crab begins, but its impenetrable shell resists Nagumo's bullets. Side note, this crab looks suspiciously like a snack I'd crave after a long day. After a fierce struggle, Yui bites Nagumo's neck, draining his blood. Nagumo uses transformation magic to sever the creature's limbs and hurls rocks in retaliation. Once Yui finishes feeding, she conjures a powerful magic sphere, crashing it onto the crab's head. Still unfazed, the beast presses on. Together, Nagumo and Yui focus their attacks until the monstrous crustacean finally falls. Yui asks why Nagumo stayed instead of fleeing. He replies that he understands the sting of betrayal, so he chose to stand and fight alongside her. Touched, Yui's spirits lift. As they feast on their vanquished foe, she shares her story over 3 centuries old. She survives not by eating, but by using blood to fuel her magic. Yui explains the labyrinth was built by mavericks, messengers of the supreme deity, who rebelled against the god of the Christian era but failed. They hid in the deepest dungeon layers. Nagumo crafts a rifle and ammo from the crab's shell, and the two press onward. As Nagumo recounts his harrowing journey, Yui weeps. His suffering is all too human. Nagumo admits he doesn't seek revenge, only strength to one day return home. His selfless heart moves Yui, who sadly prepares to part ways. Nagumo invites her to come home with him. Suddenly, they're chased by monstrous dinosaurs adorned with parasitic flowers controlling their minds. They barely escape into a cavern filled with the similar flowers and floating green spores. Nagumo uses transformation magic to create a shelter. Suddenly, Yui attacks him, her head blooming with a sinister flower. Nagumo narrowly dodges, but the spores explode upon contact, adding chaos. A flower monster emerges, its rapid regeneration mirroring Yui's. The duo must strike the monster first, but another guards it, healing each blow with flawless timing. During the battle, Yui recalls her sealed past, while Nagumo moves away, leaving her in despair. The relentless assault on Nagumo continued, and as he dodged, he accidentally touched those glowing green orbs, triggering explosions. Then, the monstrous flower beast emerged. It was clear these creatures possessed an uncanny ability to rapidly regenerate, forcing the two to focus their attacks on the main beast. Yet, as they struck another monster, shielded it, allowing the flower beast to heal itself, recovering, attacking, defending, in a seamless, deadly dance. Exhausted, Yui was suddenly flung backward by a powerful hit. Looking back, she saw herself sealed away, while Nagumo retreated, leaving her in a wave of despair. She sank to the ground just as the serpent prepared to strike, but Nagumo shot it in time, tossing a grenade toward the beast and conjuring a protective bunker to shield them. Inside, Yui confessed her fear of being abandoned, only for Nagumo to kiss her, promising to fight and survive together. That kiss. It was so sweet, it could make anyone drool. Rejuvenated by that kiss's power, Yui fought with renewed vigor. The duo moved in perfect harmony. Nagumo wielded his rifle with a smile like a farmer, harvesting victory firing straight at the serpent while Yui launched 5 magical spheres striking with breathtaking precision. But just when victory seemed within reach, the serpent's grey head snapped back to life, unleashing a fierce barrage of gunfire that caught Nagumo in a brutal combo, sending him crashing down. The beast kept firing, but Yui raised a protective shield, catching the bullets and carrying Nagumo back into the bunker. She wanted to give him holy water, then face the monster herself with Nagumo's rifle. No matter how hard she tried, her bullets were useless against the serpent, which even blocked magical attacks. Thinking death was near, Yui braced herself, only for Nagumo to leap in, embracing her and dodging the serpent's strikes. As he lay there, the sound of Yui's tears and her fight for him stirred his spirit. Summoning every ounce of will, he rose to battle once more, alongside Yui, pledging to keep fighting. She vowed to drain the enemy's life force while he defended her. Together, they threw grenades around the serpent's lair, detonating them with precise shots. The ceiling crashed down, crushing their foe beneath the rubble. Yui then unleashed a devastating magic spell directly on the beast, banishing it from existence. Nagumo fainted from exhaustion, and Yui collapsed beside him. When Nagumo awoke, he found himself bandaged and lying naked next to Yui. Startled, he summoned the alluring, bloodthirsty Sexy to wake her. Yui stirred as Nagumo regained consciousness, tears falling as she comforted him. This was the place Maverick had mentioned. They dressed quickly and approached a nearby abandoned house. Inside, they discovered a hot spring bath, a rare oasis amid the chaos. The two ventured further, eager to explore this newfound refuge. They entered a room, housing a dry skeleton clutching a magical ring, perhaps the key to escape the underground maze. As Nagumo stepped into the circle, a red light flared, flooding his mind with visions. The skeleton transformed into a handsome man who stood and faced Nagumo. Instinctively alert, Nagumo listened as this figure claimed to be the maze's creator. However, being a recorded message, he could not answer Nagumo's questions. Meanwhile, Nagumo's old team reached the 65th floor of the labyrinth's central tower. Nagumo himself had tried to save everyone, but fell in the process. The team coordinated flawlessly, battling a bull-headed monster with fierce determination. Others fought off skeletal warriors relentlessly. After a grueling struggle, they finally defeated the monstrous bull and scattered the skeletons who retreated helplessly. Their strength had clearly surpassed the first explorers of this hellish place. Together, they battled through relentless skeleton warriors. After a grueling struggle, they finally defeated the horned monster, and the skeletons, powerless, crumbled and scattered. Their strength had clearly surpassed the first opponent they faced here. Meanwhile, Nagumo was handed a legacy, the promise of power from another, with a solemn plea to never wield it for evil. Nagumo began absorbing this power, feeling it etched deep into his soul. He mastered a new ancient art, creative magic, which lets him infuse raw minerals with energy to forge unique golems. But Yui struggled to adapt to this magic. They pored over the remaining books, striving to unlock more secrets. That night, as Nagumo relaxed in a hot spring, Yui joined him undressing. Nagumo teased her to at least cover herself, but Yui playfully insisted he see everything, that all of her was his. Talk about luck. Using creative magic. Nagumo crafted a prosthetic arm and essential tools, guns, motorcycles, cars. He hunted monsters to learn their skills, training with Yui for 2 months until ready to venture out. Standing together within a magical circle, Nagumo and Yui prepared for the next leg of their journey. Outside, a seductive rabbit awaited someone, but suddenly a dinosaur appeared, ready to stir up chaos. The little girl, trembling with fear, had an accident while scrambling up the mountain to escape the terrifying dinosaur. Suddenly, a beam of energy shot down from the cliff that was Nagumo, emerging from the labyrinth. He was exactly the person the little bunny girl had been searching for. As the two rejoiced in their escape, the bunny girl rushed over, urging them to hurry and escape together, her voice trembling with urgency. Panic sets in. Nagumo's energy, flagging, his head drops low, as if surrendering to fate. The rabbit clings tightly, pleading, "Don't leave us. We need you." Just then, the dinosaur reappears, its horns glinting menacingly. The rabbit warns them to run. This beast is no ordinary threat. Nagumo raises his gun, firing rapid shots that slice through the tension. The dinosaur's fury is cut short, like a wild anime beast vanishing in a blink. The rabbit trembles but holds on fiercely to Nagumo's leg. Despite the fear, she refuses to let go. Nagumo, moved by her resolve, lowers his weapon and agrees to help. The rabbit's joy bursts forth as she uses Nagumo's shirt to wipe away tears and sniffles, only to get shot once more this time, by Nagumo himself in a teasing reprimand. This fragile, beautiful girl, gentle yet fierce, oh the irony of her delicate charm amid chaos. "You think you're prettier than you, Nagumo?" teases, sparking a rivalry that's as fiery as it is funny. The rabbit, confident in her own allure, unknowingly rouses the wrath of Ue, a fire ant summon, who whirls a tornado that sweeps the rabbit away. Later, the rabbit reveals she has clairvoyant powers, foreseeing that Nagumo and Yui will become the ultimate duo in this wild world. When they hesitate to help, she insists she'll be their guide on this perilous expedition. Nagumo and Yui agree, knowing a guide will ease their path. The rabbit leaps at Nagumo, joking, "Are you trying to steal my man?" instantly freezing the moment with an icy glare. Meanwhile, in the Howley tribe, a dragon attacks, only to be swiftly defeated by the timely arrival of Nagumo's group and the rabbit, who presses her forehead to Nagumo's in a silent bond. He tosses her upward as bait, drawing out the enemy and picking them off one by one, saving her from a deadly fall. In the days that follow, Nagumo, Yui, and Hu hunt monsters in the forest, racking up victories and earning the villagers' respect. The tribe pleads for strength, and so Yui and the rabbit train together. But the moment they dive in, Yui's powerful gust blows them both away, shattering dreams with the force of reality. Even the villagers can't bring themselves to kill a mouse, let alone monsters. Nagumo, frustrated by their gentleness, crushes a flower and declares, "In this world, it's kill or be killed." Training continues with fierce determination. The rabbit fights with fiery spirit, even earning a scar on Yui's face during a sparring match. Naruto arrives, celebrating their progress like a proud commander. Yet the villagers grumble, "What kind of training is this?" Everyone looks like they've been eating hot peppers. Danger looms on the horizon as the day to depart approaches. The tribe escorts them to a mysterious gate resembling the maze's entrance. The whole tribe offers to protect Nagumo, but he insists they stay behind and train on their own. That night, the rabbit recalls a promise from her mother that one day she would find amazing comrades beyond the forest to journey with. Her thoughts turn to the vow made with Ue and Si. The next morning, the worthless little rabbit is allowed to join the group, thanks to Ue and Sai's promise. Excited, she embarks on this new chapter. At the cliff, she stumbles upon a hidden cave, entrance leading them inside to a secret passage. Fate seems to favour them, as Naruto eagerly clears traps with his gun, while Sai narrowly avoids a deadly snare. They advance through corridors, where giant stones roll menacingly. Magic won't work here, so Naruto pulls out his gun to shoot the stones away. The rabbit leaps ahead, swinging a hammer to smash obstacles and clear the path. They dodge deadly blades, swing across gaps, and narrowly escape a shower of falling pots. This girl's got the luck and skills of a trap master. Suddenly, something white shoots at the rabbit's face as they push forward. Eventually, they enter a chamber, guarded by moving suits of armor flanking a throne. The armors spring to life, attacking the trio. They clash fiercely, breaking through the guardians and bursting through a door into another realm. On a massive stone throne stands Minnie, the final maze boss, and Nagumo's rival sister. She eyes them with excitement, asking Nagumo about his ultimate goal. He reveals his quest for ancient magic that allows travel between worlds. Minnie smirks, hinting that such magic lies here, but warns it won't be easy. To defeat her, they must destroy the core beating like a heart inside her armor. The battle is fierce. The armor's metal is near indestructible and rapidly repairs itself. Minnie hurls massive spheres down upon them, forcing them to dodge with all their might. Nagumo moves in, firing precise shots, while Ue freezes the armor, halting its escape. On a massive stone, an armor appeared, the final boss of the labyrinth. That armor glowed with excitement, recognizing the trio as the ones who had conquered her brother's beat. The armor introduced herself as Minnie and asked Nagumo about his ultimate goal. Calmly, Nagumo revealed his desire to find the ancient magic that would grant him passage between worlds. He inquired if such magic existed here. The armor responded with a hint of sarcasm. She explained that to defeat this mechanical menace, they'd have to destroy its core, the heart at its center. United, the three launched their assault against Minnie's armor. But the armor was forged from an ultra-hard metal capable of self-repair. It lifted massive spheres high into the air and hurled them down upon them. They scattered just in time, but Nagumo was already closing in. Nagumo fired a precise beam into Minnie's back, while Yui targeted her front, freezing her solid to stop her escape. Nagumo then pinned a giant nail into the armor's body with his rifle, but couldn't pierce its thick plating. As Minnie gloatingly admired her own invincibility, Shin leapt forward with a hammer, driving the nail deep into the core and shattering it. Exhausted after the battle, Minnie lay still. Yui gently stroked the little girl's head, offering comfort and praise. With her last strength, Minnie wished Nagumo success on his quest and warned him not to misuse the ancient magic before fading away. A somber moment of silence followed a minute of remembrance for a fallen warrior. A stone slab then revealed a new door, and Melly, still alive, grinned wickedly. The earlier battle had been just her armor puppet. The trio tensed as Shin charged forward, delivering a hammer strike straight to Melly's head. After inheriting the ancient magic, Nagumo demanded more from Melly, stripping her of her belongings. After a brief farewell, Melly retaliated with a powerful blast, sweeping them down into a dark cavern. In the murky depths, a monstrous fish with a grotesque face startled Shin, stealing his breath. Water surged upward, and when they resurfaced, Nagumo and Yui found Shin unconscious by the riverbank. Sensing danger, Nagumo rushed to save him, performing CPR, despite Yui squinting in discomfort from the close contact. As Shin regained consciousness, he immediately embraced Nagumo in a grateful kiss. The fiery kiss from Yagumogu angered him, and he threw her away, luckily, far enough, or she'd have caused chaos. The three, soaked to the bone, rented a room, and everyone wanted to sleep beside Daewoo, making him mad enough to grab a gun ready to take action. Yet despite it all, her face remained innocent and clueless. The next day, a man named Trang, leader of the Jolly Adventurers, heard rumours of these three talented individuals who had easily passed through the canyon. Trang had a request he believed all three could fulfill, but before he could finish, Nagumo refused. However, Trang promised no paperwork or hassle, which made Nagumo accept the task. On their journey, the girl Sui had already fallen asleep. Earlier in the Adventurers Guild, Trang mentioned a team had ventured north for a survey, including the Count's third son Win. Though skilled, they suffered heavy losses, unprepared for their enemy's strength. Hearing about Nagumo's group, Trang thought they could help, as the Count was his close friend. Nagumo requested 3 status tablets and agreed to fulfill any conditions. The deal was sealed, and Nagumo began the journey to the northern mountain. Nearby, old friends and former teachers of Nagumo worked and ate together. The chef announced a special guest, a leader sent from the forest to search for the missing. Meanwhile, Nagumo's group arrived to eat and chat, accidentally calling out Nagumo's name. The other group recognized him instantly. A teacher ran over, tears flowing, asking if he was truly Nagumo, but Nagumo flatly denied it, insisting they were mistaken. After some talk, he reluctantly admitted he was her student. The 4 sat together, but Nagumo barely noticed his teacher, focused instead on the 2 girls. Seeing this, the teacher asked who they were. They claimed allegiance to Nagumo, which left her speechless. With a loving spirit, the teacher urged Nagumo to reconsider his life choices, warning him against mistreating both girls during the meal. Nagumo simply ate, answering her questions half-heartedly. Annoyed, a blonde man entered, and everyone was told to reconsider their behaviour. He even insulted Sai, calling her a filthy animal, and demanded the country cut off her hands. Uyen revealed he was text. Cut off here, no further content to rewrite. Text. Cut off here, no further content to rewrite. A cowardly punk overly eager to draw his sword against Yu Hui, only to be deftly dodged and mocked by Nagumo. It's like scratching an itch you didn't want annoying, but somehow inviting a fight with this messy author's creation. After their meal, Yu Hui's face dripped with silent rage from the earlier insults, but Yu surprised him by complimenting how soft and adorable her ears were. Nagumo even often caressed them while she slept. Hearing this, the girl couldn't help but light up with joy. That night, the teacher simmered in frustration over the harsh words from the once well-behaved student. The more she thought, the angrier she became. Meanwhile, Nagumo was already in her room, sharing the legend behind the labyrinth's creation, how the Madrives forged it as a trial for those truly gifted. Curious, she asked what he planned to do with such power. Nagumo calmly replied that he simply sought the path back to his homeland with no grand designs, urging her to follow her own will. After speaking, Nagumo stood to leave, but the teacher stopped him with a heartfelt confession. Shirasaki has never given up on him. She believes he's alive and training with others inside the maze. Nagumo revealed a darker truth that someone in that group tried to kill him. He warned her to watch out for Suzaki and others, then quietly departed into the night. The next morning, as Nagumo prepared to head towards the northern mountain, the teacher and some classmates waited at the forest's edge, eager to join his party. He summoned his motorcycle to carry Shienware for convenience, but the teacher's earnest plea softened him. So he conjured a whole truck to transport everyone north. Along the journey, the teacher sat beside Naruto, soon dozing off. Meanwhile, Yus sulked, insisting she deserved the seat beside Naruto on the return trip. Upon arrival, Nagumo released several flycams to scout the surroundings. They detected signs of a fierce battle nearby. Investigating, they found large footprints, monster tracks. Pressing onward toward the mountain, Nagumo sensed a presence at a waterfall. Yuhui bravely parted the cascade's veil, revealing a hidden passage. Inside lay a blonde-haired figure, unconscious. Out of compassion, Naruto roused him. The man's name was Hui, the very ally the team leader sought. Hui recounted how monsters relentlessly cornered them on the mountain until a black dragon appeared, slaughtering the team. Filled with guilt, he lamented his uselessness, wishing he'd died instead of his comrades. Nagumo grabbed him firmly, asserting that life is the most precious gift, and such despair must not be spoken. Having survived the labyrinth's deadly trials himself, he understood the value of every struggle. As they prepared to leave, a fierce wind swept in that black dragon, just as Hui described was charging their group. Nagumo swiftly summoned a shield to block the attack. Shin charged forward, wielding his hammer, while Ue cast a blinding spell to disrupt the beast's vision. Yet the dragon pressed on relentlessly. Nagumo ordered everyone to focus on Yui's side, declaring he would face the dragon head-on. Brandishing a massive rifle, he unleashed a furious barrage. Yui conjured a protective barrier to shield the team. The relentless hail of bullets finally forced the dragon to retreat. The author even gave Thang a savage moment, punching the dragon's belly and sending it drooling before tossing it a grenade. The dragon, gathering energy, fired back at Nagumo, who gracefully dodged and returned fire to its face. The beast soared upward, only to be pinned down by Nagumo's enormous crossbow bolts. Then, wielding a hammer, he hammered the dragon into submission. In a desperate move, Nagumo abandoned mercy, thrusting a massive iron rod into the dragon's rear, ignoring any delicacy. The dragon screamed in agony. It was female pleading for the iron rod to be removed. She revealed herself as a member of the Dragonborn clan brought here by fate. She warned that removing the rod would unleash her true power, a calamity. Yet Nagumo pushed it deeper, questioning why the Dragonborn still fought alongside adventurers if their kind was extinct. She told of fleeing her hidden village to investigate, only to be ensnared by a cloaked man wielding mind-controlling magic. Her heart saw truth, no lies in her eyes. The cloaked figure and his monsters would bring tragedy, and she sought to stop it. Nagumo grumbled that her troubles only made things bigger messes, and as he raised his fist to strike again, Hugh intervened, asking if he intended to kill her. The dragoness repented, pledging to accept punishment and aid their cause. Yielding, Nagumo withdrew the iron rod with a powerful yank. She groaned, transforming back into a beautiful woman named Chowa Dragonborn. She warned that the black-cloaked man would unleash thousands of monsters on a nearby village, and she intended to stop that assault. Nagumo's flycams confirmed the monstrous army's threat. Though concerned, Nagumo reminded her his mission was solely to return Wind safely. The rest was her fight. Exhausted, Chow confessed her mana reserves were depleted, unable to continue without rest. Nagumo stubbornly insisted on dragging her along. The next morning, inspired by the teacher's words, Nagumo prepared defences around the village. Women, children and elders gathered for a meal. That evening, as Nagumo inspected his weapons, a friend named Sonlobe arrived, thanking him for saving her in the labyrinth. Despite Naruto's cold demeanour, Nagumo's final words to her were a tender warning: don't die. Nagumo pulled out a steel rod and delivered a powerful strike. The dragon groaned, then transformed back into a stunning woman named Tiao, a member of the Graris dragon clan. She warned that the man in black would soon unleash thousands of monsters to attack a nearby village, and she was determined to stop him. Nagumo's drone eye spotted the advancing army. Though concerned, Nagumo insisted his mission was to escort Shin back. The village's defense was Tiao's burden. Tiao confessed she'd exhausted her mana reserves and couldn't continue. Nagumo teased her a bit, then decided to escort her. The next morning, after hearing his teacher's advice, Nagumo committed to protecting the village. He crafted magical defences and helped evacuate women, children, and elders. That evening, while inspecting his weapons, a friend named Sonlobei arrived, thanking him for saving her in the labyrinth. Despite Nagumo's cold demeanour, his parting words, "Don't die," carried deep, unspoken affection, as analysed by their literature teacher. Even Tiao seemed a little off-kilter, but as the monster horde closed in, everyone readied for battle. With a single volley, Nagumo decimated a horde of towering demons. Then, alongside Shin wielding a hammer, they unleashed a relentless barrage of bullets and fire. Tiao spewed flames that incinerated hundreds of monsters, while Shin summoned a magical orb that crashed down on the enemy like a storm. Exhausted, Tiao fell asleep, but Shin still had energy for 2 more mana blasts. Nagumo and Shin charged forward, sweeping through the monsters like a storm. Nagumo lobbed grenades and fired his gun while Shin swung his hammer ferociously. Suddenly, a wolf lunged at Shin, but was swiftly crushed by his hammer, only to reveal it was a harmless husky in disguise. Finally, the duo confronted the man in black. Nagumo slew the wolf he was riding, sending the villain sprawling. The next morning, Nagumo returned with Shin and the man in black, just as their teacher appeared. The flames of determination burned brighter than 1,000 suns, incinerating a horde of monsters with a single gentle sweep, a magical orb crashing down upon them like a silent storm. Hundreds of beasts fell beneath the relentless assault. After unleashing a grueling combo, 2 finally succumbed to exhaustion, drifting into sleep while C still held enough strength for 2 more mana blasts. Thus Nagumo and C charged into battle, sweeping through the monsters like a whirlwind. Nagumo wielded grenades and guns, while Sai swung his hammer with fierce precision. Suddenly, a wolf lunged at them, though it was just a husky in disguise. SI's hammer struck the wolf's head, sending it off swiftly. Eventually, the duo confronted the man in black. Nagumo took down the wolf he was riding, causing him to fall to the ground. The next morning, Nagumo C and the man in black headed back together. At this moment, their teacher finally recognized her student, the same young man who had risked everything to prove he wasn't useless. He had made a pact with demons, kill the teacher, and be hailed as a hero. But then, out of nowhere, a strange one-eyed man appeared, ruining the plan and turning the tide of battle. Yet instead of anger, the teacher gently urged her student to return to her side and live out his school days, steering clear of the demonic path. The young man seized the teacher with a poisoned needle, threatening that anyone who approached would mean her death. As Naru reached for his gun, ready to shoot, C rushed forward to protect them. In the chaos, Naru's shot narrowly missed C's waist and struck the black-clad student instead. He quickly tended to the teacher with a healing potion, but the student still lived. The teacher begged for one last chance to save him, but Naru, knowing some paths cannot be undone, dealt a final blow. After delivering Win back to the production site, they were given ID cards and rooms in a nearby inn. That night, Tia Omo's old memories surfaced, painful, yet poignant. Despite the sorrow, she stubbornly pressed on, only to be scolded by U for oversleeping. Meanwhile, Nagumo took Shin on a tour of the city's wonders, leading them to an underwater palace. There they encountered a talking monster, a fish with a human face that looked frankly quite repulsive. After a brief conversation, Nagumo admired the creature's ability to speak and released it back into the waters. As Nagumo and Sai enjoyed their outing, they discovered a faint flicker of life beneath the surface, a young mermaid girl who had escaped from cruel merchants. They carried her to a nearby dam where she awoke. Her name was Marieju, and she was treated to a warm bath and even a hair-drying session from Nagumo. Marieju shared her harrowing tale, captured and sold on the black market she had managed to flee. Nagumo promised to take her to an orphanage to find her family, but the girl clung tightly to him, and Sai unwilling to part. When they reached the orphanage, Nagumo's face was scratched and weary. Suddenly, an explosion rocked the area, forcing Nagumo and C to rush back. They found a chilling message: if anyone wanted the mermaid girl alive, the white-handed stranger must be surrendered. Choosing speed over caution, Nagumo and C broke through walls instead of taking the roads racing to Wei and Tiu. The four tore through the city, dismantling the black market one by one, until finally reaching the dungeon where the captives were held. When the villain tried to strike, the tension snapped like a wire. No one would bow to injustice. The battle was far from over, but the light of hope burned fiercely in their hearts. From the heights above, Nagumo descended like a tempest, stomping squarely on the face of the enemy's deputy. Without hesitation, he took down that scoundrel too. Then, breaking the cage, he scooped up the little girl and soared upward. Above, the dark auction market lay in ruins, shattered by the trio of Nagumo's harem. With a fierce command, they summoned a storm of thunderbolts, obliterating every hiding place to save Mew. And at that moment, we finally understand the little one clings to Nagumo, calling him Papa with innocent longing. The trio melts under her charm, demanding Nagumo's paternity. This cunning little schemer knows how to win hearts. The next day, their journey resumes, but with a twist, Mew flips up her skirt at Nagumo, then stands tall on the bike seat, proudly showing off her riding skills. Truly a spirited child. Together, they set off to deliver a letter from Chief Duyen to the one-eyed man. While the two converse, a shadowed figure, with hair obscuring his eyes, rushes in, begging Daewoo to save those trapped in the labyrinth. They are in grave danger. Flashback, Mew's group has reached the 90th floor of the labyrinth. Suddenly, a demon tribe appears. 10 golden-armoured warriors offer to join their team, but sensing no intention to ally with the demons, they turn hostile. A fierce battle erupts, everyone struggling to withstand the demons' relentless assaults. A knight strikes the demon leader, but she heals instantly, revealing their vast difference in power. Seeing the dire situation, Daewoo calls Ando, the sharp-eyed comrade, to summon Captain BRD for backup. The call goes through. Meanwhile, back with Nagumo, the little girl bites him, playfully prompting his angry shout, "If you scare her, I'll castrate you." Right then, in the labyrinth, a hero strikes down a charging gorilla demon. The demon queen summons 2 phantom cats. As the group defends Suzu, one feline stabs her through the belly with its tail. Furious Kiku launches an attack, but the demon queen flees. The girl begins turning to stone, realizing this. Kiku orders a retreat. Yet frustrated by their cowardice, he scolds them for fleeing. Suzu slaps him back to reality. Elsewhere, a messenger rushes to floor 7, where the new captain is guarding to report the situation. Suddenly, a beast teleports in, slaughtering the soldiers. The new captain arrives just as the monster appears. Bao Ando steps out to summon heroes for reinforcements, while holding his ground alone against the undead horde. Meanwhile, the others reach the teleport gate, only to witness the captain's brutal death at the hands of a spectre. Enraged, Kiku breaks his limits, increasing his stats, and slays the phantom cats before charging at the demon queen, wounding her severely. As he prepares the final blow, he freezes. Never before has he killed someone. Fear grips him. The demon queen summons a hellhound, striking Kiku and sending him flying. On the other side, Ando kneels before Nagumo, begging for help for old friends. Nagumo agrees and rushes to aid them. Meanwhile, everyone else tries to revive Baokiku, who is drained of energy. Chudu fights the hellhound fiercely. Oddly enough, the beast uses its tail like a loincloth. Just as Suzu fights valiantly, the demon queen summons 2 more hellhounds, sending Suzu flying and coughing blood. Carrie rushes to shield Suzu with magic, but the hellhounds effortlessly shatter her barrier. As they prepare to strike again, one is instantly skewered. Nagumo stands before them. In truth, his spear was meant to break the ground beneath, accidentally piercing the monster. He catches each falling ally, including Ando, leaving everyone stunned. Ando had brought reinforcements. The demon tribe summons beasts relentlessly, but Nagumo's gunfire wipes them out with lethal precision. Watching his expert marksmanship, one can tell his charm level is off the charts. Nagumo dispatches wave after wave of monsters. A turtle demon fires a blast, but Nagumo reflects it back, targeting the demon queen's healing bird, not the turtle itself. No matter how tough the shell, even the strongest fall to relentless fire. After the carnage, Nagumo's lethal attitude shines. Suddenly, someone announces he invited Nagumo to help. The red-haired man freezes, the very one who coldly killed Naruto. He doubts this truth, accusing Ando of lying, but Ando remains stone cold. If he were Nagumo's enemy, he'd be careful. As the hellhounds attack, Yui unleashes dark spheres to annihilate them, joined by Kito and Suzu, who take down a few monsters for good measure. The Demon Queen strikes Nagumo with advanced magic, but he shrugs it off and slashes her thigh, demanding to know her purpose. He guesses she came to summon demons using ancient magic. She neither confirms nor denies, only threatening that her lover will soon seek revenge. Outside, Shinagumo takes her down with a final shot, no mercy in this relentless world. After the battle, Nagumo pats Huawei's head, praising her skills. Carrie, frightened, runs up and clings tightly, tears streaming, but Nagumo dares not hug her. After all, thunder rumbles ominously behind. Together, they exit the labyrinth, destroying every obstacle in their path. At the exit, the boss summons an army to help those trapped, but it seems unnecessary now. Outside, Carrie begs to accompany Nagumo, but Yui denies them, rivals like Angel and Demon, both vying for his attention. They fought off wave after wave of monsters. When a turtle launched an attack, Nagumo blocked and reflected the blow back at a demon nearby. But his true target was the enemy's healing bird, not the turtle. No matter how tough the turtle's shell was, relentless firepower wore it down. After the battle, the tension thickened as a red-haired man appeared, announcing he had invited Nagumo to help. The villain froze in terror. He was the one who had tried to kill Nagumo. Denying the truth, Endo's words fell flat against Shin's cold warning. If Nagumo was in his home, he'd be in danger. At this moment, the red-haired guy couldn't believe it when I said I had invited Nagumo to help everyone. His blood ran cold because Nagumo was the very man who had tried to kill Naruto. He accused Endo of lying, but with a cold glare, Yumi warned him. "If you're at Nagumo's place, you'd better watch out." Just then, the horse-faced group charged at us, but Ui unleashed a dark sphere, effortlessly wiping them out. Even Kito and Suzu joined the fight, taking down a few monsters just to ease their itch for battle. The Demon Tribe member launched a powerful spell straight at Nagumo, and Oe screamed, "Papa!" Carrie overheard and gasped, "Who's Papa? Nagumo has a child!" Meanwhile, Nagumo shrugged off the attack, barely phased. He countered with a strike to the demon's thigh and asked, "What do you want here?" He guessed she was summoning those demons using ancient magic. She had come to explore this cave, but she said nothing, only threatening that her lover would come for revenge soon. Outside, Shinagumo model finished her off, knowing she was too weak to fight. A gunshot echoed. Nagumo showed no mercy to enemies, kill or be killed. He approached to ask for help, and to his relief, they managed to save the wounded man. After the battle, Nagumo ruffled Huawei's hair, praising her skill. Carrie, scared, ran to embrace Nagumo, crying, but he dared not hug back, too much chaos behind him to relax. Together, they pressed on through the maze, destroying anything blocking their path until they finally reached the exit. The boss, trembling, had summoned an entire army to help those trapped, but it seemed unnecessary now. Once outside, Carrie begged to go with Nagumo, but Yue refused. They were like arch-rivals, Angel versus Demon, vying for Nagumo's attention. What kind of love is this, with one eye blind and the other prickly? Still, Nagumo decided to let Carrie come along. Early the next morning, everyone parted ways with Carrie and Nagumo, while the red-haired guy stayed back, too afraid Nagumo would deal with him on the spot. Nagumo summoned a car and they continued their journey together. This is where the story pauses. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to support our team in bringing you more videos. Thanks for watching. Now, moving on to part 2 of the anime, From Ordinary to Strongest. When news of the hero's return reached them, Princess Liena's emotions nearly burst. She was overjoyed to reunite with her friend Shizuku. While waiting for the servants to prepare a meal, the princess voiced concern over Shizuku, who had yet to leave the maze. They knew her group was safe, but Group 2 was still struggling each day. The members of Group 2 vowed to search for Shizuku if she didn't return soon. These were truly selfless souls, always thinking of their comrades. When Princess Liena mentioned Koji Shizuku fell silent, the weight of the story heavy in the air. As they sipped tea, they shared stories, learning Koji had been traveling with a different group. Shizuku suddenly felt unwell, but thankfully Hajime was safe. Shizuku reflected that if Princess Liena met Hajime now, she'd be overwhelmed. When Princess Liena mentioned Koji Shizuku suddenly fell silent, the weight of unspoken thoughts heavy in the air. The story unfolded over tea, revealing that Koji was traveling with another group. Somewhere along the way, Shizuku felt unwell. Thankfully, Hajime was still safe. Shizuku joked that if Princess Liena met Hajime now, she'd be shocked. His appearance had changed so much. Over on the desert sands, Hajime was behind the wheel of a rugged G63 accompanied by some adorable, lively friends. Among them was a little girl whose cuteness was only rivaled by her non-stop chatter. Hajime and Ru shared a lively conversation when suddenly Kaori remarked that Hajime looked like the protagonist of a novel, a striking image in the endless sea of sand. Everyone in the car grew restless as Ru and Koji's endless bickering filled the air. Only when little Miu gently reminded them to quiet down did silence fall. Then ahead, a writhing mass of hungry worms appeared, reminding them of the terrifying worms from Bin Duong. These beasts never missed a chance to devour prey. Hajime floored the accelerator, racing through the swarm. With so many writhing bodies, it took steady hands and nerves of steel to weave through them. Meanwhile, mischievous little Tu was relentless, teasing Hajime without end. "What is this worm? How many times will you pin Hajime down?" she joked. Kaori clung tightly to him as if embracing life itself, while the others jabbered on, oblivious to the looming danger. The constant quarrels between them were unbearable. Hajime had no choice but to reverse the car and activate the side-mounted launchers to shoot down the worms. But these were just the small, far larger, more monstrous worms loomed ahead. The heavy artillery on the front of the vehicle roared to life, each bullet a promise of survival as they cut through the monstrous horde. Escaping the swarm, they spotted a lone figure lying on the road. Since Koji was a healer, he, Hajime, and Tu went to check on the stranger being spared from becoming worm food was cause enough for concern. Kaori examined him and found that he had fainted from a magic power surge triggered by poison absorbed into his body. This poison was deadly, perhaps something like the infamous Langon leaf. Kaodui observed that the man's organs and veins were being ravaged. She tried to block some of the toxin, but it was too deep, nearly unstoppable. With no other choice, Kaodui unleashed a high-level healing spell, channeling her magic to stabilize him temporarily. This method could only hold the poison at bay, not cure it. Based on her knowledge, Kaodui said the symptoms were worsening fast. Hajime, cautious of airborne contagions, ordered a full checkup for the group. After a while, the stranger regained consciousness, mumbling incoherently. Hajime decided to get him onto the vehicle before he turned into dried jerky. The man introduced himself as Dangen-san of the Duke of An-kai, a duchy near the town of Isai, where Miu was born and raised. Mention of An-kai stirred unease. Hajime suspected trouble awaited there. The blacksmith Gen reported that fever and collapse were rampant in An-kai, with toxic water suspected of triggering sudden magic eruptions. The only hope was to use a mineral stone called Tin Nan Thak to neutralize the poison. The stakes were high and the journey ahead promised no mercy. They've just found a way to heal it, and we can gather small amounts from the great volcano Jeju. But the real problem isn't the cure, it's that a part of the adventurers have already fallen, and Hajime doubts they can survive. Hearing this, Hajime decides to stop by An-kai anyway to lend a hand. The group heads straight to An-kai, where Samar stands before the castle, his comrades still struggling to believe that Cattle has been defeated. Their mission in U-Town ended in failure. Only 4 remained after sweeping through the demon army, and some even lost limbs returning. The enemy was overwhelmingly strong, so Sama plans to head to the great volcano and seize the divine magic. Meanwhile, Hajime's group arrives at the An-kai Duchy. The scene is majestic. The picturesque port and natural beauty surround them, yet the land feels utterly lifeless. First, they meet the Duke's father, who pledges personal aid to the duchy. The primary issue is polluted water. Someone built a large reservoir of clean water, but it's only a temporary fix. Using magic to create large amounts of water drains energy, so Ru asks to siphon some magic power from Hajime. While investigating the water's source of pollution, Hajime notices an unusual reaction beneath the riverbed and throws a grenade down to investigate, but nothing surfaces. He then tosses more explosives, and just as he's about to throw 50 grenades, a purple, liquid-like monster emerges. It's the source of the toxic pollution. The creature attacks, but Hajime fires his gun, shattering it and eliminating the root cause of the contamination. Though the water isn't purified yet, clean water will soon flow again, restoring the land's vitality. The prince, seeing the urgent problem solved, expresses the nation's gratitude on behalf of the people. Afterward, they visit the injured. Thanks to the clean water, there's enough for everyone until reinforcements arrive. Rue bids Hajime farewell as he heads off to collect spirit stones, while she stays behind to tend the wounded. Suddenly, Miu wonders if Hajime plans to kiss Kaoreje, like he did with Jue earlier. Gao Dui's scary glare asks Hajime why he kissed Jue during work and forgot about her presence. Once again, Hajime must cross the desert swarming with sandworms, a familiar challenge he swiftly overcomes. They traverse the desert to reach the great volcano. The heat hits immediately, with thick, white smoke billowing around. Sia and Jue are sweating so much, it's like they're about to melt into smoke themselves. Chu remarks that this heat is perfect, missing the chance to bask in it would be a shame. Hearing this, Hajime playfully tries to dunk her head into lava, teasing that her fiery spirit matches molten rock. Deeper inside, the heat intensifies and no one has ever returned from the volcanic beasts that lurk here. Seizing the moment, Tu tests a weapon Hajime recently upgraded and swiftly slays a monster. During a break, Jue conjures ice while Tu creates smoke, giving them a cool relief like Rebirth. The heat is nearly unbearable for Hajime, leading Tu to speculate that the great volcano might be a labyrinth trial one that forces warriors to fight diverse demons and master attacks without magic, enduring scorching heat, while striking as if about to turn to ash. After resting, they float on a lava raft deeper into the volcano. Approaching the mountain's base, they brace for what's ahead. As they drift through a tunnel, Tu uses wind magic to steady the boat. Ahead lies a house buried under countless magic stones, about 100 in number. Suddenly, multiple magic attacks surge toward them, forcing the group to split up. Hajime decides to reach the house, asking Ju for backup. Fiery monsters keep emerging relentlessly from below. To reach the house in the center, they must defeat all monsters blocking the way. Tu notices that each time Hajime destroys a monster's core, the magic stones on the house decrease. It turns out the number of snake-like monsters matches the stones. The condition to pass is to defeat 100 snakes emerging from the lava. Hajime steels himself for the labyrinth's final trial. Just then, an overwhelming attack, a vertical pillar of light, strikes Hajime, leaving him severely wounded and unconscious. Despite Rue administering medicine, the sudden blow was too fierce. To protect Tu, the attacker, a demon tribe member and lover of a girl Hajime had killed in the previous labyrinth, caused this chaos. Luckily, Jue gave Hajime holy water beforehand, helping him regain consciousness just as more demons approach. Hajime questions the attacker about his missing arm, severed by Hajime's hand. The man reveals himself as a zealot of the gods, hunting heretics under the name Bakwa. Believing his divine magic makes him a true servant, he's betting everything to please the gods. When his heart's call led him here, he chose to face Hajime head-on. But Hajime fears no one, and commits to wiping out all his enemies. The four split up, each unleashing their signature attacks against the zealot. As he blocks their strikes, he uses ancient magic to teleport behind them, catching them off guard despite Zuai's warnings. Hajime breaks his limits to block the blow. After the zealot's next attack, Hajime counters with multiple magic tools, continuously attacking. Just as the zealot prepares another ancient spell, Tu transforms into her true form to stop him. Rue reveals herself as a dragon deity. The zealot is stunned. He thought the dragon clan was extinct, but now stands face to face with their last kin. The battle intensifies as the zealot attempts magic, but Hajime suddenly appears behind him, shattering his protective barrier and slashing through his armor, sending him flying off the dragon. At that moment, the black dragon defeats the zealot's dragon, turning the tide. The holy water's effect wears off, and Hajime plummets toward the molten rock below. Fortunately, the black dragon swoops in to catch him. Their eyes meet, burning with hatred. Their clash is ferocious, a testament to the fierce devotion of those who serve. Truly, when women fight with all their heart, they become unstoppable. The dragon clan, thought extinct, reveals their power without even uttering a spell. In this blazing crucible, bonds are tested, and the line between friend and foe blurs. Who will rise from the ashes and who will be consumed by the fire? The story reminds us that sometimes the fiercest battles are those fought within ourselves. Despite warnings from Zuai, Hajime wasn't quick enough to react when the enemy attacked from behind. With no choice left, he broke his limits to block the blow. As the attacker launched another strike, Hajime countered with multiple spells, relentless in his assault. Just as he prepared to use ancient magic again, Tu revealed his true form to stop him. Ruin was a dragon god. The sight was nothing short of breathtaking. He was utterly stunned, believing the dragon clan had perished long ago. Never did he expect to encounter the last of their kind right here. The situation grew dire as he prepared to unleash his magic, when suddenly Hajime appeared behind him, shattering the protective barrier and striking him with a fierce slash. The blow cut through armor, sending him reeling off the dragon's back in agony. At that very moment, the black dragon also defeated his mount. The holy water's time limit had expired, dragging Hajime into a free fall toward molten rock below. Luckily, the black dragon swooped in to catch him midair, their eyes locked, burning with mutual hatred, as the clash unleashed a devastating force. Truly, when a woman fights with all her heart, she is far from ordinary. Now even visiting a lady's house becomes a battlefield. The dragon clan, once thought extinct, now strikes, without incantation, a whole people wielding extraordinary power, promising to rise again. Meanwhile, the other adversary refused to use divine magic, unable to bring down Hajime. Hajime, unfazed by the rambling, snapped back, warning him not to speak, as if victorious they were still fighting. The enemy assumed Hajime's will to live was too strong, so he unleashed his ultimate move to defeat such a formidable foe. He shattered a stone pillar that began to sink, as if magma was about to swallow everything whole. The colossal volcano still simmered, though history recorded no eruptions, meaning some hidden force beneath controlled the lava's flow. Opening a gate above, dragons rose and flew away, leaving them to be engulfed by the molten tide. Hajime ordered Tu to take his ring and fly out to safety. Gradually sink, resembling molten lava threatening to engulf everything. The Great Volcano is an active volcano, yet history records no eruptions, meaning some underground force controls the lava. He opened the upper gate, and dragons soared away, leaving them behind to be swallowed by the lava. Hajime told Tu to hold on to his ring and fly out because he would never give up. With the divine air magic now in his hands, the day would come when he'd shatter his enemy. He must keep his promise to bring the Quiet Man's stone back to Ankai. So Tu swiftly took flight despite the closing gate, dodging dragons spewing deadly attacks. As Tu struggled, Hajime's preset spells exploded in a blaze. Back in Ankai Kingdom, they witnessed the great volcano erupting. Meanwhile, Sudoku was training when a cute little cat appeared. Princess Liana arrived urgently, calling to strengthen the group to fight the demon clan. An angry young man punched a tree, furious that someone had stolen his princess, while an unknown figure urged him to reclaim her. Two wings, faltering and weary, returned to the duchy and landed heavily at the city gate, exhausted but alive. Kazi quickly came out to ask about the team, since only two had returned, and with the volcano erupting, tension ran high. Upon hearing the report, Kudai explained Hajime's special squad would return later, and Hajime refused to bow to the Grim Reaper's death. Later, Hajime sent a message to Kazi, saying he would come back. With such words, all they could do was place their trust in him. Days passed since Hajime left the volcano, and he still didn't understand why Rui kept sitting on him, refusing to get down. He couldn't believe he had survived while the volcano still raged. As the lava continued to rise, the others helped Hajime into a labyrinth room. If they didn't act quickly, the molten lava would drown them. While resting, Kogi noticed a magic circle. Approaching it, they saw inscriptions on the stone. Kazi came and unlocked it, obtaining evidence and new magic. Next, they needed to escape, but Kazi realized spatial magic was difficult and Hajime couldn't use it yet. Hajime then proposed an idea to swim through the lava. When everyone panicked, thinking he'd lost his mind, he revealed he had secretly prepared a vessel capable of diving into molten lava. The ship moved a bit before its rudder stopped working. When the volcano erupted, it flung them out near the sea. With limited ammunition, they shot down small sharks. Hajime, drained of energy, had to rely on Kuri to finish off the rest. Sia had lent her blood to Kuri, who was now unconscious. They woke up enjoying the fish. Meanwhile, a few fishermen leapt up, their sensitivity heightened. The more they talked, the more stubborn the tension grew. Suddenly, plans to kidnap everyone were underway, but the cunning fisherman was about to strike Hajime when he was stopped by him tossing a fish into the sea. Out of nowhere, something fell onto Hajime's head. It was Miu, along with Tu and Karo, rushing to their side. But Miu falling like that was dangerous. filling Hajime with a heavy sadness. Yet everyone burst with joy, embracing him as if no separation had ever occurred. Next, they would head to the island. This was Miyu's homeland. The moment the group touched land, Miyu eagerly wanted to take Hajime to meet her mother. It seemed Miyu's mother had a wounded leg, so she asked Hajime to help. When Miyu called out Papa, everyone realized she meant Hajime. Immediately, Hajime carried her back to the room for Chowdhury to use magic to heal her. It appeared the injury was from Miyu's kidnappers. While trying to capture Miyu, they overlooked this. Miyu's mother wanted to know why her daughter called Hajime father, so Hari sat down to recount everything, the story behind Miyu's choice of words. Hearing Hajime would stay in town for a while, Miyu's mother suggested he stay nearby by the seaside. She said a father should never abandon his child, and that staying there to be Miyu's dad wouldn't be a problem. Hajime immediately declined the atmosphere, turning icy, everyone around him showing no emotion. The nosy fishermen all refused understanding and announced an emergency meeting. Shijoku was en route to meet His Highness when he encountered Sensei. In their conversation, she learned that Nagumo had been given a decree by the church. Though he wielded great power and saved the city, he refused to obey the church, making protests useless. The Hajime group had left EJ for some time to explore underwater ruins. Sitting by the sea, Hajime pondered that the ruins must be nearby. Chowdhury approached. Seeing the sunset, he felt nostalgic, reminiscent of Japan despite barely half a year passing. Suddenly, under the bright moonlight, Hajime's conquest badge glowed as moonlight gathered on the pendant, casting a long beam. They followed the light down to the ocean floor, where a large, rocky door opened. Luck was on their side to find such an entrance. The water currents were strong and almost surreal. Hajime sensed something behind them. Indeed, once wielding red-black magic power, it was always demons. He needed to test his strength, sure enough. His power surged beyond before a successful improvement. Next was the fifth location, still a 5-pointed star. Shining the pendant's light on it opened another door. Inside was a cavern with a single lake. They walked deeper, encountering weak monsters compared to the great demons of the labyrinth. Next came the beast with a corrosive liquid that could burn flesh. Z intended to use this chance to let Hajime heal her wound, but Chowdhury stepped in to heal Hajime instead. Wondering why the labyrinth's monsters were so weak, it turned out the final boss was already waiting. No matter how much they attacked, it wouldn't take damage, it would simply regenerate because its body was transparent. Monsters like this contained magic stones. Through Hajime's magic eye, they saw its body was full of those stones matching the room's colours. They realised they might already be inside it. The beast began attacking. Hajime summoned a flamethrower to fight back, but it seemed ineffective. They quickly regrouped, facing an underground space of unknown destination. This was their only escape from the stubborn monster. The strong currents separated them. Suddenly, Chowdhury asked Tu why she was saved instead of Ru. The answer: she was about to collapse while Ru was still holding on. Now they would explore the deeper levels, certain the Zue group was doing the same. They entered a sunken ship's tomb. Strange sounds surrounded them. Resurrected shipwrecks attacked. These were neither illusions nor reality. Suddenly, a wounded person fell onto the ship. Chowdhury approached, but the person vanished into nothingness. Though knowing it was a hallucination, behind them appeared several strange beings, some claiming to be gods or heretics. They didn't know how to escape this spatial distortion. First, they decided to end the conflict by wiping out these enemies. Perhaps the demons were using illusions to recreate a past war. Each great labyrinth had its unique beast prepared to be unleashed. If true, the beast would bring the taste of suffering that gods and chaos had inflicted. Suddenly, Sio, possessed by a mad god, appeared overwhelmingly powerful. She seemed swallowed by divine madness. Hajime found Kaji very troublesome, always apologizing and looking gloomy. Chowdhury asked Hajime what he thought of Se. Hajime said he initially treated Sia with reverence and only saw Ru as special. He hoped Ze would give up, but she kept sulking and crying, mixing people up yet still joyful. Despite lacking magic and being oppressed, she kept moving forward without shame or submission. Chowdhury, since arriving, constantly apologized, even forgetting how to smile. Hajime's words stunned her. He liked Zoe. Though he valued others, Zoe held a special place. If Kaji couldn't understand and kept comparing her to Ru, feeling inferior, Hajime advised her to leave him rather than suffer. The mood grew heavy. Meanwhile, the teacher was heading to deliver important news when suddenly a robed cleric arrived to escort her. The mysterious figure claimed to be a god and began enchanting her. Without understanding, she was dragged away. Suddenly, the figure punched her in the stomach, threatening to kill her. All this was witnessed by Princess Liana. The scene shifted back to Hajime, who agreed to let Kaori accompany him because she resembled Zer and understood Hajime's feelings. Together, with Inwenuwok, they looked ahead. But Hajime no longer felt the same and urged Kaori to reflect on herself if she still wished to journey with him. He intended to send her back to Shizuku's place. He lifted Kaodui onto a wooden boat with intricate craftsmanship. Suddenly, eerie sounds echoed as a feast unfolded. Not just humans, but demons and demi-humans gathered. After a while, a king stood to speak, celebrating the end of the war. Hajime praised the warriors' great achievement for peace. Though tragedy wasn't fully over, they smiled and celebrated. Joy turned to shock when the king declared the peace treaty a year old, calling it foolish to toast with monsters and heretics. This was a blood-soaked feast where survivors were gathered to eliminate vile races abandoned by gods to rebuild to the nation and destroy those who dared rival humanity. No additional subtitle content present. No additional subtitle content present. Today is the day to purge the heretics in honor of the gods. The king feels an overwhelming thrill as he gathers the leaders of all nations in one place. When the king commands his soldiers, a bloody scene erupts. Seeing the bloodshed, Hajime's tension spikes. Is it really over? No, this is just the beginning. Hajime suspects the king is showing him the god's frenzied memories, pushing him to explore the ship's secrets. The king's ruthless strategy is savage beyond belief. Such cruelty shakes the faith of everyone living in this world, making them question their gods. That earliest scene felt unnatural, though the king claims peace, he's betrayed those who built it. If he truly harbors hatred for demons and beasts, it's shocking how quickly he's turned in just a year. The change is terrifying. As they delve deeper, a misty aura surrounds them, and tendrils lash out with fierce force, blowing Hajime away. Then a squad of soldiers materializes, encircling him. He swiftly takes them down and frantically searches for Kazi. Suddenly, she appears as if nothing happened. Knowing demons are behind this, Hajime fires several shots at her, but magic bullets cannot pierce Kazi's true body. Cut, the nonsense, Hajime growls. No matter what, this demon still occupies Kazi's body. Hajime's resolve hardens. He won't stop until he forces this entity out. Kazi's survival is on the line. The stakes are high, and Hajime warns this won't be a quick kill. He'll use every trick to make sure this demon never disappears quietly. Ren's eyes brim with tears. Finally, Kazi awakens. Seizing the moment, Kazi kisses Hajime passionately, confessing her deep feelings for him. This crush only deepens Koji's pain, as his rivalry with Jua seems destined to vanish. Kazi accepts being the one-sided lover just to stay by Hajime's side. Hajime and Koji reach the magic circle. Hajime still can't believe the maze is this easy. Koji, however, feels it's already tough, especially in a world where faith runs deep. The violent visions shown earlier hint at looming disaster. Just then, the Suez group arrives, narrowly escaping peril, only to face that twisted woman. When he tries to rush back, he's met with a powerful strike. To top it off, Koji confides in Ju that he's grown beyond Hajime, knowing his importance to him, and pushing himself harder. The tension explodes into a fierce debate over a girl's fate. Suddenly, a mysterious woman appears, urging them not to lean on the gods, but to rely on their own willpower. March forward on your own feet, she says. The source of free will brings true happiness. Then she vanishes, leaving behind proof of their conquests, 4 certificates in hand, ready to challenge the great Dukai labyrinth. Before they can celebrate, they're abruptly thrown out. Whoever opened the teleport gate is hit by a towering wave. Could they really have to fight underwater? Previously, Hajime and the Suez team tried using fire in battle, but it was useless. Now they must wield fire underwater to completely eradicate the monster's essence before it can regenerate. This tactic demands time, so they must hold out for 3 minutes. But the beast is about to swallow them whole. Suddenly, a school of fish charges. The monster turns out it's old fish Dissen, an old acquaintance of Hajime's. The delay buys enough time. That's more than enough for the monster to lose its chance to merge again. They successfully slay the creature. Meanwhile, Suzuku and the others worry about Ichan, their teacher, who's been kidnapped by a mysterious nun-like girl. It's a beautiful morning, but sleep is rudely interrupted when Miyu smacks Hajime in the face, calling him to wake and eat breakfast. She wonders why Papa and her sister always wake up naked. "You're still a kid. When you grow up," she teases. The light-hearted moment contrasts. The chaos, a brief breath of normalcy amid the storm. "You'll understand soon enough." The other three wives insisted the two ladies put their clothes on immediately, no spoiling the kids' eyes. 10 days have passed since Hajime successfully explored the labyrinth. Meanwhile, the wives decided to indulge in swimming and leisure. Hajime, however, was busy preparing his gear, lost in thought. Suddenly, Demiya Miyu's mother emerged from the water to thank him, and everyone for helping her daughter, reassuring them not to worry. She urged them to continue their journey, promising to take care of Miyu. It seemed she had read their minds, hesitating to leave the girl behind, but unsure how to say goodbye. Hearing this, Hajime decided to tell Miyu that they would leave the next day. Jamiya overheard and cheerfully suggested throwing a party that night. "My dear husband, oh no, don't say that." Suddenly, another wife appeared, catching Miyu red-handed, stealing dried squid and handing it to Hajime. The sisters thought he liked it, so they all competed to gift him treats, but the old man ended up enjoying them all. After Hajime mentioned leaving, Miyu grew sad but had anticipated this, so she accepted it. After all, he couldn't bring her along on such a dangerous journey. Hajime promised his daughter he would return for her once his mission was complete and the wives would come to meet Miyu too. He also vowed to take her back to their homeland Earth where he was born. Then Miyu's mother quickly asked to tag along. "Oh, wherever my daughter and beloved husband go, I'll go too." With that, the young man was surrounded by the whole sisterhood. They all assumed Hajime was saying farewell, not just a temporary goodbye. Hajime had changed so much since meeting his daughter, he vowed, no matter the cost, to return for her. Is he coming for the baby, or maybe the mother, they joked. The next morning, Hajime bid farewell to his daughter and new wife, then set off on his adventure. Meanwhile, the kingdom's situation grew dire. Princess Liena secretly sought help, realizing her father and soldiers had changed strangely. No one could be trusted anymore. Teacher Akito was imprisoned by a mysterious assassin who claimed to act on the god's will. Meanwhile, the demon tribe, led by Freeze under the Demon King's orders, launched a full assault on the northern region. Countless demon and undead troops were summoned, advancing relentlessly toward the capital. The captain sensed the soullessness in the soldiers' eyes. After a secret investigation, the deputy captain discovered most soldiers and their commanders were possessed. The king had grown ruthless and resolute in waging war against the demons. The captain assigned the deputy to find the cause of the king's corruption and a solution while he would handle the king and fortify the defences. The Royal Knight captain wondered why the demon tribe hadn't attacked them first, suspecting it was to avoid breaking the army's morale. He drafted 2 letters, one for Hajime and one for Count Dangen, but before he could send them, Daisuke knocked at the door. He pretended to ask for help, claiming no one listened to Hajime's words anymore. The captain was willing to listen, but Daisuke just sat idly. Soon, the deputy knight controlled by enemies attacked the captain directly, but failed. Seeing Daisuke's fear, the deputy struck him, and Daisuke treacherously stabbed the captain from behind, flashing a wicked smile. That night, some classmates came to Shijoku's room, unable to sleep. They discovered the captain and guards had vanished. Despite his grave wounds, the captain fought off 2 attackers. Then 2 more soldiers joined, making him struggle, but he still managed to fend them off. The controlled soldiers kept rising. Daisuke warned the captain that even in death, the attackers wouldn't stop, and dozens more were coming. The captain decided to escape through a window, attempting a spell but failing. Suddenly, a woman's voice echoed in the air, making him sweat. She was a powerful subordinate of God Elise, hovering under the moonlight, ready to intervene because the night had been too slow. Meanwhile, Daisuke's group had already eliminated the 2 letters and driven the king and his close aides mad. Daisuke believed no one would stand in the way of their coup anymore. On the road, Hajime witnessed a strange battle, a group being attacked by numerous bandits. the defenders eventually lost their protective barrier. Hajime vowed to eliminate every obstacle starting with these bandits. It was like bringing a tank to a sword fight. No one stood a chance. He easily defeated the bandits then, while helping the local people discovered Princess Liena among them. After heartfelt conversations, the princess was relieved to see Kaosi accompanied by a powerful ally like Hajime. She even hoped to hear the tense story of Kagi's bold confession when he insisted on following Hajime. She couldn't remember who this delicate girl was, but seeing her cry was quite the scene. It turned out teacher Akito had been attacked and captured because Hajime was an unbeliever, seen as an enemy of the gods. With no one else trustworthy, the princess sought Hajime's help. He promised to rescue her first, then uncover who was behind this. Anyone who hurts my teacher, I won't miss. Conveniently, the place where Akito was held, Shiny, was also part of the Great Labyrinth, so Hajime planned to use magic on the way. Nearby, a massive magical formation was activated. On the journey, the princess explained their kingdom relied heavily on the church, and her father had been forced into fanaticism. Superstition spread, and soldiers lost their will. The church ignored all of Hajime's past deeds. As Akito called Hajime's name from captivity, she was startled by a young man peering through the window of the tall building. He broke in with style, surprising her. She hadn't imagined he'd go so far just to save her. After rescuing her, he could finally uncover who was behind this. Who dared touch my teacher? I never miss a punch. Conveniently, the place where she was held captive, Shiny, was one of the Great Labyrinths. Might as well grab some magic on the way, huh? Meanwhile, nearby, a massive magic formation activated. On their journey, the princess shared that their kingdom heavily depended on the church, and her father was forced into fanaticism. Superstition spread like wildfire, and soon soldiers lost their will to fight. The church ignored all of Hajime's past deeds. Teacher Akito was imprisoned, and just as her name was called, Hajime heard a young man's voices outside the window, startling her. The towering building didn't stop him from peering in. He broke in, coolly catching her completely off guard. She never imagined he'd go this far just to save her. The young man took her hand, but she protested. "Oh no, this can't happen. Why not? I'm just laughing at your chains," he teased. The teacher, shy for a moment, said, "Though I didn't want to see you. It's because of you I was captured, so you came here. And if this is about the army or the old class group, then please save me." Hearing this, Akito held Hajime's hand tightly, confessing she didn't truly want to avoid him. It was just that she couldn't forget what happened with Shimizu. But she understood Hajime's reason for killing Shimizu was to save her. She took all the blame upon herself. Akito thanked Hajime for rescuing her and apologized for dragging him into fights with his classmates, but he said it was his own choice, no apologies needed, and vowed to get her out of this nightmare. Just then, he noticed the kingdom's barrier had been destroyed by demon tribes. They were swarming in massive numbers, launching a brutal assault on the royal capital. Before he could escort Akito to safety, a blinding strike slammed into the tower, splitting it in two. Luckily, Hajime's reflexes saved them both, pushing her aside to safety. The attacker was revealed a girl standing bathed in moonlight named Noi. She was one of the apostles under the command of the god Ehito, declaring she would clear the path for her master. Hajime grinned with excitement and challenged her, "If you want to catch me, come and try." Meanwhile, Hajime's wives were heading to Shizuku's room when suddenly the glass shattered. They realized the kingdom's protective barrier was broken by the demon horde. The battle lines were drawn and the fate of the kingdom hung in the balance. Every moment pulsed, with tension, heroes rising, alliances tested, and destinies intertwined. In this world, where magic and faith collide, the struggle was not just for survival, but for the very soul of their realm. If you've ever felt powerless, like Hajime, take a breath and ask yourself, when the world falls apart, what inner fire keeps you fighting? Sometimes what we need isn't power itself, but someone who believes in us even just once. Let this story be a light in your dark moments, because even the smallest spark can guide the way. Thanks for sharing this journey with me. They quickly informed them that a battalion was advancing from the south, led by a terrifying white dragon, the same beast that had appeared before and demolished the barrier. They guessed this sudden attack was the work of magic teleportation. The princess urged them to rendezvous with Shizuku's group, but Jue refused, still holding a grudge against the White Dragon for injuring her husband last time. So the two wives set off with Chu to locate the dragon's lair. The tension between the two women was palpable. At the same time, Hajime called Tu over to watch the teacher, since he had foolishly challenged a terrifying opponent earlier. The moment Tu left, an unexpected attack struck Hajime's wives, but both dodged with ease. "We're looking for you," one hissed. Hajime was stunned they were still alive. If his wives were this strong, just imagine how terrifying he must be. Determined, he vowed to take them down, but the White Dragon retaliated with a single strike of spatial magic, cutting through the attackers like wheat before the scythe. One of the women signaled to call them back. These foes had driven them to madness. They lunged together, but because they were outnumbered, Chu dragged them away. The blonde-haired younger brother pursued, suddenly overcome with rage. After some soul-bearing talk, it was revealed that the red-haired demon he had killed in the maze was his wife. The world's wife. There were stories of her gentle and kind nature, but she had been betrayed and overwhelmed by their enemies. The world's power was formidable, yet fragile. Like the CIA, they had allowed her to retreat, but she was ultimately assassinated. No one had time for such personal drama when death was chasing them. So the blonde-haired youth ordered the attack. Sia was no pushover. She smashed several foes to the ground. These enemies preferred ranged combat, but Sia excelled at both close and long-range fighting. She unleashed a devastating double fan strike, tearing through the enemy ranks. But the blonde-haired youth played dirty, throwing poison darts. Sia's body began turning to stone, but her regenerative powers kicked in, breaking the curse. She even used makeup magic to recover. The enemy spat acid from above, taunting her to dodge, but she did. The shock was palpable. "What are you?" he sneered. "Just a little bunny girl," she replied. Then she launched a swift capture move, creating a hole in the ground beneath him. He was powerless. This was no ordinary rabbit, she was a monster. Sia finally grasped the extent of her own strength. Meanwhile, the attack commander wasn't far behind. Jue summoned dark orbs that absorbed enemy blows, then unleashed a golden thunder dragon. But the enemy team had a turtle absorbing the lightning, retaliating fiercely. The commander smirked, confident. "As long as that turtle's here, lightning magic is useless." "Is that so? What about the 5-colored 5? He was stunned. This year's battle was shaping up to be a feast of destruction. "This spell, something I've never seen before, ignites the turtle in flames and shatters the bugs completely." The commander barely manages to summon a flicker of light before the dragons vanish into nothingness. Indeed, the enemy wields divine magic, setting them apart. Despite being wounded by the last strike, the white dragon pierced her with a horn, seemingly ending her life. Yet she just smiled. Her vampire clan's regenerative power is unparalleled. Then came the counterattack, bleeding both Fry and the dragon heavily. Realizing they couldn't win, the vampire ordered his minions to stall, while he made a swift retreat. Du would be furious if he missed this. Meanwhile, Hajime struggles fiercely, fending off deadly attacks from Noi, all while protecting Akito. He's at a disadvantage, though, praised for holding his ground while shielding the girl. If he falters, she'll be lost. Reasoning with Noi is pointless. She is cold and unfeeling. She wields fire, but Hajime counters with magic, not simple magic, but his power seems weakened, though he's unaware when this happened. Despite being on the divine side, Noi cares nothing for the demon beast's destruction of the kingdom. Hajime suspects that the divine beings on the demon side might be none other than Elise herself. "If I'm just an obstacle, could I return to my world?" he pleads. Noi objects fiercely. Her god wants to see Hajime suffer and die in despair, making his struggle their cruel entertainment. Suddenly, Noi launches a surprise attack, scattering them. Though Hajime's strike hits Tu, arrives just in time, sending Noi crashing into a tower. After ensuring Akito's safety, Hajime finally frees his hands. The real battle now begins. Kyo escorts Akito away. Noi declares, after delivering her to safety, Tu will stay to annihilate those pesky demons for his master. But Akito insists on joining the fight. With her considerable magic, she vows to support Tu. Hearing this, he agrees without hesitation. The two exchange rapid-fire attacks, a dazzling display of skill. Though freed, Hajime can't seize the upper hand. Noi is swift, her magic pushed beyond limits. She dodges, then suddenly appears behind him, landing a blow that forces him to call for backup. But Hajime handles dual pistols with ease. Switching to twin pistols, he fights on but realizes Noi's magic has not waned. Her power and will remain relentless. The tide turns against Hajime, yet he spots a chance the enemy's sword can be broken too. Seizing this moment, he unleashes a fierce strike. Though risky, Hajime trusts her his plan. He throws 2 rings toward her, but Noi, overconfident, falls into the trap. Using spatial magic discovered from a previous labyrinth, Hajime shatters her sword, shocking her. Bound and helpless, Hajime pulls out a powerful stake and ends her with a single thunderous shot. Suddenly, a loud explosion echoes near Akito. Hajime rushes over only to find the duo playing a bit too hard. Akito, relieved Hajime is okay, reveals she's enhanced her flames, burning down the entire church in a fiery blaze. Hajime guesses she might be the goddess of agriculture, creating massive methane gas that fueled such intense fire. Akito looks shocked. It's her first big outing, but she feels her power still isn't enough. Concerned about everyone's safety, she wonders who could survive such destruction. This first attempt went wildly overboard, leaving Akito deeply shaken. As Hajime comforts her, a mysterious, imposing man appears, signaling Hajime to follow him. Though eager to regroup with his friends, Hajime senses this stranger might hold keys to mastering magic. When he asks who the man is and what he wants, the man reveals a nearby magic circle. They enter and are transported to a chamber where a new spell manifests one that can intervene in the soul. Hajime realizes the man is from the Liberation Army and master of the great labyrinth named Laozan. To inherit this soul magic, one must have completed 2 great labyrinths without worshipping gods and possess an unyielding spirit. Having met all criteria, Hajime is recognized and guided to claim this ancient divine-era magic. But tensions rise as they prepare to rejoin their group. Hours earlier at the royal palace, Shizuku senses danger and steps outside to confront 3 troublesome figures. These villains glare with pure malice, the classic villainous glare. The entire class is disarmed and restrained. Suzuki confused watches as a sinister woman laughs gleefully and steps forward. She demands Shizuku's collar, then cruelly threatens her, revealing a twisted obsession with sin. The woman admits to stopping at nothing to get him knowing he's kind, but surrounded by trash, he'd never leave to be with her, so she plans to eliminate anyone who comes near him. These soulless beings were summoned spirits all already dead, but Shizuku doubts this, since summoned spirits usually cannot speak. Yet, the woman claims to be a VIP spirit summoner controlling these undead minions, though only recently deceased can be used. Sin screams at EJ to stop or face her wrath. This woman's obsession has twisted into madness, planning to turn Sin into an undead to keep him forever. Just thinking about it makes Suzuki, Sin's friend, scream in disbelief. Suzuki can't believe what she's hearing. To prove her point, the woman instantly kills a teammate before their eyes despite desperate pleas. She commands the undead with dark summoning magic. Suzuki was used to approach Sin because she's honest and smart, making it easy to gain everyone's trust, yet she was unknowingly a pawn in this trap. Hearing this, Suzuki burns with anger. But when EJ threatens to kill and use her to slay Kaodui, Suzuki is shocked. The long-standing rivalry between them turns deadly, but EJ's attack is deflected. Luckily, Kyo arrives just in time, sending troops to attack, as she casts spells. At that moment, the princess raises a protective barrier. Daisuke arrives to break the siege, giving the princess cover to enter. He swiftly knocks out the villainess. But that scoundrel, in a cruel twist, suddenly stabs Kaodui from behind, shocking everyone. Daisuke feels a grim satisfaction. Finally, he's part of the chaos unfolding. To touch the one you love is to send your soul into wild madness. Yet, as Kaji lay on the brink of death, he mustered his final strength to cast a healing spell for everyone. Seeing this, Daisuke plunged his blade deeper, determined to end her suffering once and for all. But just then, fueled by a berserker's fury, Kasei shattered his chains and charged forward, cutting down soldiers to free his comrades. Even the young warrior couldn't hold back and unleashed his sword to vanquish the foes. The rest of the group broke free from their shackles and dove into battle, but the enemy's numbers were overwhelming. They fought desperately on the defensive. When Kosei flew to confront Daisuke, the captain leapt in to shield him, catching everyone off guard. Though restrained, the captain begged Kosei to save him. True to his merciful nature, Kosei spared the man only to be struck down by a cruel reversal, wounded gravely and coughing up blood. It turned out that the woman who kissed him had slipped poison into his mouth, not deadly but enough to harm him. She then tried to summon Kaji as a mindless, undead servant. Just in time, Hajime burst onto the scene, shouting in disbelief at the chaos unfolding. Seeing Kaji wounded, he landed a fierce punch on that despicable Daisuke, sending him reeling. Then, he urgently called for the teacher and healer to tend to Kaji's injuries. That woman even taunted that Kosei was dead and tempted Hajime to join her side for resurrection. Hajime, unfazed, ignored her, only to be stabbed from behind. The captain pleaded for release, and Hajime granted him a quick, peaceful end with a shot. Summoning his 6-barreled gun, Hajime's comrades understood the signal and took cover. With a relentless barrage, Hajime tore through the restrained enemy soldiers in a dazzling display of power. Finally, it was Hajime's turn to deal with that wretched Daisuke. "I don't care about your petty motives. Just die already," he growled. But the bully, emboldened by his cruelty, charged him anyway, only to be slammed into the ground with overwhelming force. Still trapped in delusions, Daisuke believed Kaji would belong to him, if not for Hajime. Corrupted to his core, Hajime had no choice but to send him flying beyond the city walls, where monsters awaited to finish the job. Suddenly, a powerful strike hit them, but Hajime blocked it just in time. The demon army, under Free's command, had returned. Kyo reported that Chao Dui's soul was secured, and that a certain woman needed urgent aid. Though busy, the crippled man kept shouting orders. Without a word, Hajime pulled out his weapon and unleashed a sweeping laser blast that wiped out all monsters in sight, leaving friend and foe alike stunned. "I have no alliances with this kingdom, but if you stand in my way, you'll end up like the rest," he declared. Reluctantly, the two escaped, chased by the relentless Hajime. Meanwhile, reinforcements rushed to support Akito and the healer fighting to save Kaodui. Seeing Shizuka collapse, Hajime comforted her, promising they would bring Kaodui back from the brink. Princess Liena received reports of the demon attack breaching the capital, aided from within by that treacherous Daisuke, and a mysterious nun yet to be identified. Meanwhile, the group worked tirelessly through the night to treat the wounded. The teacher, exhausted, took a moment to rest. Hajime spoke with the teacher Akito, who confessed that, despite her students' grave mistakes, she wished for their survival growth and atonement. Understanding Hajime's simmering anger, Akito didn't expect more from him. He recognized her kindness and urged her not to carry all the blame alone. He hoped she would continue to be their teacher, for it was her boundless compassion that made him feel human again. "I will always learn from you, so when I return to Japan, I can be a better person," he said softly. "And if you ever feel down, I'm here to lend you a shoulder." In that moment, amidst chaos and pain, the fragile threads of hope and humanity wove themselves back together, reminding us that even in the darkest worlds, kindness is the light that leads us home. The teacher was deeply moved, bowing her head against his back as tears fell. 5 days later, their class group kept training tirelessly, bracing for the next wave of attacks. The princess, burdened by the loss of her father, now carries the weight of the entire kingdom. Meanwhile, Shinjuku waits in silent hope for a sign. Suddenly something crashes down. At first they think it's an ambush, but it's Hajime's group. Shizuku searches desperately for Koyu, but finds no trace, her worry growing by the minute. Hajime mentions she arrived late, but the moment stretched on. Then the story shifts to him. Early the next morning, Hajime and his wives embark on their journey to explore the vast Isekai labyrinth alongside their friends. And with that, dear anime fans, we close this chapter.